Hi all, welcome to the new chapter, that is President of India. In the present session, we'll be understanding who is President of India. Before knowing about what are the powers, what are the functions he is going to do, let us understand who is this President of India. Okay, so let us see in the next slide. Before going through President of India, we all know that union government, that is legislative part is there, executive part is there, and a judiciary part is there, the important three organs of the government, correct? In the executive part, that is, we are talking about union executive. Even at the state level also executives are there, right? Union executive consists of the president, vice president, council of ministers, and the prime minister as the head of the council of ministers to aid and advise the president, correct? All these executive, okay, are very important in implementation of the programs or the laws made by the parliament. So in the sessions, like coming sessions, we'll be discussing about the remaining aspect, like the president and the council of ministers. President in this session we are going to cover, like vice president, council of ministers, and also the prime minister, right? Article 52 to 78, we all know that the part 5 of the constitution talks about the union government, correct? Union government. So here we are going to deal from like 52 to 78. In the coming sessions also we'll understand how the relation between the prime minister and the president is there, okay? So the union executive is very important, and a question may be made on this also. Question may be asked, whom of the following are part of the union executive? Okay, let us understand the concept of president. We all know that he is the head of the family. You might have come across, like, for example, a movie director, right? Who is he? He is the head of the entire movie making, right? Even though actors, producers, musicians are also important, whom you say as the head of that? With his consent, with his direction only, entire movie making is possible, correct? Without him, it is impossible. Okay, I am not telling that with actors or without producers it is possible, but under whose direction it will be completed. If you say, okay, if you take your family also, who is the head of your family? Father. Father is the head of the family. And don't think that we are having a patriarchic mindset. Okay, we know that in some states like Kerala, even woman is also head of the family, and it doesn't matter, right, who is by name called as a head. And it is also important, like, who is having the real powers, right? So anyway, we are talking here who is the head of the family, and we are not talking like who is having the real power. That is, who is having the real head of the family. The same way, president is the head of the Indian state. President is the head of the Indian state. Like a movie director, he is a representative of the entire filmmaking unit. Father is the representative of all the family members. Means on behalf of them, he will take the decision and it can be implemented. Same way, president is a representative of the union and the states equally. Okay, not only for center, not only for that is union territories or exempted areas or state, for everything he is the head. He is the representative. Okay, and we know this, means how he is elected, that and all we'll study in the later slides. I use the word like that head we are using, but whether he is having the real power or not. Real power or not. 1 second. So, for example, in a family, if you take, father is the head, correct? But the real decisions may be taken by mother, and he is going to just implement that. And sometimes what happens, you may say that your grandfather is the head of your family, but the real decisions are taken by your father. So, in all scenarios, it happens like the real power lies in somebody's hand, and the nominal powers, for namesake, whose sign matters a lot. If you are selling a property, grandfather's signature may be required, for example. But father is taking the decision. Correct? So, like that, for country in India also, we are having nominal head as well as the real head. Okay? Real head. Nominal head is none other than the President of India. Okay? And real head is, that is Prime Minister of India. From the French practice, we call it as like a de jure head and de facto head. De jure. De jure head is President and de facto head is that is Prime Minister of India. Okay. Anyway, so in this part we are focusing upon the de jure head, that is the President of India, and in the coming sessions we are going to discuss about the de facto head. Fine. Next, if you ask like what is the constitutional position of the President? Constitutional position of the President. Just now I said, if you look at this picture, okay, this chariot is running, right? Okay, this chariot. So, because of whom it is running? Is it because of these horses? Or is it because of the chariot Krishna? What's your answer? If you say answer like, sir, horses are important. Yes, definitely important. But in which direction it is going? Who is going to decide? That is chariot Krishna. In the same way, so we may be saying like, okay, so horses are important to run the chariot, but the direction matters a lot. That's what I discussed. Like the horses here are de jure, that is nominal. The Krishna is a de facto. Yes. That is the real power is in the hands of chariot. So here PM is very important. Because of PM, the government is running, means the real decisions are taken by him, but the final approval is given by the President. That is based upon his decisions only he is going to sign on that document. That is the position. So what is the constitutional position? You understood. Without the signature and sign of the President, no bills will become act, no decisions can be implemented. And he is considered as the first citizen of the country. First citizen of the country. And you might have seen, so just have a look at it, like the personalities whom we know, okay, like from the beginning, like Rajendra Prasad to Ramnath Kovind, okay, we have seen the presidents, different type of, sometimes they will also ask like, okay, so which of the following, whom of the following were the presidents of India, or who served like different positions also. Sometimes they will ask such questions, okay. So now you'll understand the technical aspects of the President of India. Okay, President of India is the head of the Indian state. He is the first citizen of India. First citizen of India, and acts as a symbol of unity, integrity, and solidarity of the nation. Yes, we all say that our president, correct, is a symbol of unity, that we are under a single head. I hope if you remember in our preamble, the word republic. What is the meaning of republic? The elected head will be there, correct? Similarly, our elected head, that is president, is representing us. That is a symbol of unity, integrity, and solidarity of the nation. Republic, either it is a directly or indirectly, it doesn't matter. Either he is elected directly or indirectly, but we are having the republic, and evidence is President of India. And he is head of the Union Executive. Union Executive. That is, all the decisions, executive is implementation, right? All the decisions are taken. All the decisions are taken by in the name of the president. His signature is very important. Okay. Without his signature, no order can be passed. That we will discuss how, whether he can deny to sign, deny to approve it. That we will discuss. Okay. And we know that the executive head is president. It includes PM and also the Council of Ministers. But real executive powers are in the hands of the Council of Ministers headed by PM. Correct? That is what. And in the Constitution, Article 53, in the Constitution, Article 53, the executive powers of the President are exercised by him directly or through officers subordinate to him. That is you people. You people are the future officers. Correct? If the President want to implement something, either he will directly give his order, directly he can implement, or also the subordinate to him. Any executive means it may be in the state like governor means if you want to implement something in the state, that is through governor, and finally in the ground through officers like you. That is, he is going to exercise the executive power that is mentioned in the Article 53. So it is not necessary to remember all the articles. Please remember, if something is in news, then you must remember. Up to Article 51, yes, you need to mug up, I can say, mug up. But remaining, based upon the importance, based upon the news, you need to remember. Fine. We have understood the de facto and de jure head of a state. Correct? How our de jure head, that is the nominal head, that is President of India, whom we call as the first citizen of India, is elected. Correct? How is our president elected? Who are the electors? How the election is conducted? What is the pattern? How it is different from the Lok Sabha and the state legislative assembly elections. Correct? The election of the president. Okay, the election of the president is different from the first past the poll system what we do in the MP and MLA elections. I hope you remember first past the poll system. What is that? That is, one who secures the highest vote is the winner. Correct? There is no concept of at least they have to secure these many votes. I hope you remember that. And here, one person, one vote. Correct? I am going to cast my vote against the candidate whom I like or prefer. Here, the system is using the proportional representation. The proportional representation system by means of single transferable vote. Proportional representation. Again, we'll recap that proportional representation. For example, a party is having 100 candidates, or a community is having 100, another community is having 10, another community is having 1000. Correct? So if you want to take proportionately, okay, for every 10 seat, one person. That is like, for example, from here 1 person will come, from here 10 persons will come, from here 100 persons will come. So this is how the simple way of proportional representation, proportional to their community strength or party strength, whatever, that how we are going to adopt. Correct? And in this proportional representation system, we have learnt two systems, least system and another is single transferable vote system. Here, the proportional representation by means of single transferable vote, STV. Okay, the proportional representation actually we have seen is usually used in a Rajya Sabha. Okay, but here we are using, anyway, they will ask this question. They will ask what is the method they are going to use. Correct? Anyway, we'll understand and also see the criticism against it. So here it is saying the single transferable vote. But actually there is a criticism for it. After understanding the mechanism of election, then we can see that. Okay. Next question comes is, who are the voters for this presidential election? Correct? Who are the voters? So, if you see, the voters are, you know that Lok Sabha and Rajya Sabha MPs are there. They are the voters. And state legislative assemblies, MLAs, they are the voters. And also the MLAs from the union territories. union territories. Okay. Please note that you all know that there are nominated members are also there, right? Because all are not elected, but nominated members are not part of this election. Nominate members are not part of this election. Okay, that is elected members of both the houses of parliament, elected members of the state, elected members of legislative assemblies of union territories of Delhi and Puducherry. Now we may also think about the new union territories. Correct? So Jammu, Ladakh. If legislative assembly comes is there, then it will also be part of it. Okay. Please understand, only elected members are part of this electoral college. Electoral college means the voters for the presidential election. Okay. It consists of, as we have seen, that is the elected members of both the houses of parliament, that is Lok Sabha and Rajya Sabha and elected members of the state legislative assemblies of the states, and also the union territories where the state legislative assembly is there. Got it? So we can clearly see here the nominated members of both the houses are not part of this electoral college. Correct? Similarly, nominated members of state legislative councils not there, because in the state legislative assembly and in some state legislative council is there. Okay, but this state legislative councils members are not at all part of this electoral college, be it is elected or nominated, doesn't matter, they are not part of this, that's it. Okay, and nominated members of even Delhi, Puducherry also do not participate in this election. Okay, and it is not mandatory. For example, in a Karnataka state, assembly is dissolved. Okay, what happens in the scenario? Whether the members can still vote for the presidential elections, because it is dissolved. Then they cannot vote for the presidential election. Okay, and suppose election is pending, but we can't help. So in the state, election is pending, but we can't help. So they are not going to be part of this electoral college of the presidential election. I hope that will be a MCQ. Okay, they will ask such questions, because already still no new members are there from the state, but old members are there. They will give like, okay, until the fresh elections are conducted, the old house itself will be voting for the president. Like that, they will confuse you. Okay, so once it is dissolved, over, they will not be participating in the president election. Okay, and the third thing, so I hope you got what is the mode and who are the part of this electoral college. MPs of both houses, only elected but not nominated. In the state, state legislative assembly, legislative council will never be part of the electoral college, and also the union territories. Okay, the members of the union territories can also participate in this. Got it? Means the state legislative assembly should be there. That is MLAs of the UTs. This is the point. Next, third thing, we are adopting indirect method for the presidential election. Okay, why we are adopting indirect method? Why not the whole population of India is participating in the election of the president? Because first thing is, assume that in a family, two people are having the decision making powers. What happens? Quarrel, right? They fight against each other. It's my right, I will take decision. So whenever there are two heads, okay, when the power is given, equal power is given in two hands, the difficulty is there to administer. That is the reason. Just imagine if PM is also directly elected and the president is also directly elected. So they will start fighting against each other. That is, I have power, I have power. That should not happen, right? And another thing is time, where he is not going to make the real decisions. Okay, when he is not going to take the real decisions, why we should waste so much of energy, time, everything on them? That is why the indirect election is preferred. Okay, so that's what it wastes the resources. Okay, let us understand the criticism like about the method. You all know that the indirect election for the president, first point, indirect election, right? We are living in a democracy, and why we need to choose the indirect mode of election, correct? Why we need to choose the indirect mode of election? But I discussed what happens when we are not giving the real power in their hands. So I think this is preferable. Okay, fine. Anyway, that we can say it is. It looks like undemocratic, but in real sense, the person elected by the people only taking the decisions. Correct? Fine. And the indirect election of the president is suitable, means it is correct, we can justify it because it is in line with the parliamentary system of government. What you people are thinking, how it is in harmony with the parliamentary system of government? These are interesting things. You need to give a thought, then only your thinking capacity will widen. It is like, if you think, keep on thinking, okay, your horizon will expand. You start linking the things to other subjects, and also some innovative thinkings will also help to uh, widen your personality horizon. Okay, fine. How it is in line with the parliamentary system? Because you know that what is parliamentary system? The executive is responsible to legislature, correct? That is the parliamentary system of government. Here president is the executive head, correct? President is the executive head. So by selecting indirect election, it ensure, okay, see, he is somewhat means subordinate to that, means he is answerable to legislature. So we can say like this, correct? We know that in the parliamentary system, president is the nominal executive and real executive is council of ministers headed by PM, correct? So if you give powers to president, that is more powers to president directly, so it is not in line with the parliamentary system. I hope you are able to appreciate the points, correct? So that is one answer. Means you can say that no, it is not undemocratic. In the interview they will ask such questions. For example, what do you think that we are following an undemocratic way for presidential election? Then you can say, no sir, actually it is not, we can say it's undemocratic because our president is not a real head, real executive. It is a nominal head. So real executive is actually elected by people only. So that is the first point. Okay. And second reason, as I said, second reason already said, it's a very costly and time and energy consuming. Correct? Because all citizens of India, means one who the electors, voters, it's a too expensive, means vast electorate, that is unnecessary wastage of time, energy and everything. Okay, fine. Second, I hope you got the answer for this. So if somebody says like this, then you have to answer like this. Next thing is, next criticism, proportional representation. Proportional representation, actually you know that this is used for selection of more than one person, that at least two persons should be selected. But here we are selecting only one person, president, and we are using this proportional representation. So the criticism is, instead of calling this like proportional representation, you can say that preferential or alternative vote system. But anyway, still in the exam you have to mention proportional representation, and I do agree with this criticism. Okay, because that is not actually used. It's a misnomer. Next is another criticism, single transferable vote. When we'll study in the next slide, a MLA vote value is different because, for example, MLA from Karnataka may be representing 10 lakh people, but a MLA from Uttar Pradesh is representing 15 lakh people, correct? So MLA of Karnataka, if he votes, okay, he is not assume that he is equivalent of 10 votes, but MLA of Uttar Pradesh equivalent of 15 votes. So how they are giving equal votes in general elections? When we vote, it is one person, one vote. But in the case of MLAs or MPs, the vote value is multiple. They are not just casting one vote, multiple vote. How that we'll see. So the single transferable vote is not thing because every voter has a plural votes, not just one vote. Got it? That is why we need to understand this. Fine, no problem. But in the exam, you need to still remember proportional representation by single transferable voting system. See, by discussing in depth, like seeing the criticism, why it is like this, what is the opposition, you will remember the things actually. You will remember the things and you will never forget that. So, the more you read, the more in depth you go, you will understand the subject and also remember very easily. Okay, fine. We discussed about who are the electoral college members, correct? So you can see here already we have discussed about it, but let us also see practically, correct? How many Rajya Sabha MPs are participating? Okay, just for the curiosity, okay, like 233 Rajya Sabha MPs, 543 Lok Sabha MPs, and also from state around 4,120 state legislative, that is MLAs, correct? So in total around 4,896, that is below 5,000 people were participated in the presidential election. Some variation will be there, but just to get an idea. Okay, so MLAs proportion is, means participation is more, obviously number of states are more, correct? How it works out? Okay, how it works out means how much votes, like whether it is simple majority or absolute or special majority, what is the required thing, and how actually they are going to cast their vote, and what is the vote value of MLA and MPs. Come, let us understand that. Okay, the procedure of this election is given in the Article 55. No need to remember. Election of the president is held accordance with the system of proportional system by means of single transferable vote. That is what is mentioned in the Article 55. Okay, and we know that what are the different types of majority. For this election, we need absolute majority. You know that what is the meaning of absolute majority? That is, if 100 people are participating, at least half of it plus 1, correct? Half of it plus 1. If 100 people are participating, how many votes they need to secure? 51. Suppose 200 are there, then half of it is, that is 50% is 100 plus 1, that is 101 votes are required in order to win the election, presidential election. That is absolute majority. Please remember, that is 50% plus 1, not 51%. In the exam, they will give 51%. There is a lot of difference, correct? Because in this example, 51% is 102. So just one vote is enough above 50% to show that majority. That is absolute majority. Okay, fine. And we know that different states have different population. So I was telling you, like, for example, a Karnataka MP means MLA. Karnataka MLA may be representing 10 lakh people. Uttar Pradesh or Madhya Pradesh MLA may be representing 15 lakh people. Correct? Difference is there or not? Because if you see, In Karnataka, 224 seats are there, MLA seats, correct? That is not same with other states. It varies from state to state. Automatically, what happens? Each MLA represents the different size of the population. Why it is so? Because we all know that the seat allocation, the number of seats for each state is fixed based upon the 1971 census. 1971 census. So why actually 1971 census is fixed? Why 1971 census is fixed? Because we all know that the latest is 2011, and we also know that the 2021 election is pending, but because of the pandemic, it is getting delayed, right? So why the number of seats for Karnataka, these many seats for Madhya Pradesh, these many seats for MLA is allocated based upon 1971 census? Is it not strange? Yeah. The reason is, what was happening was like vote bank politics. Like the population was exploding. The population was exploding at the time. So we need to control the population. But what happens? The politicians are not interested in this measure. The reason is their vote bank, means the number of people who are going to vote for them will be increased for them, correct? For example, Vijayanagara of Bangalore may be in favor of some political party, correct? If the population of Vijayanagar increases, that too of a particular section, so that is beneficial for that particular political party, means particular political person, correct? So he will never worry about population control measures. So keeping that in the mind, so it was decided, okay, now onwards we will freeze. Whether the population of Vijayanagar, it is 5 lakh, now it may be reaching 50 lakh, doesn't matter. We are not going to increase the MLA seats. So when we are going to increase? That is in 2026, correct? So first time it was decided earlier, later again it was postponed to 2026. Okay, fine, not an issue. Now because already population measures are in place and everybody is aware of that, and that control is happening, so now we can change the number of seats, and we are also aware of that new parliament is being built, because in 2026 if you change, the number of MP seats will increase. So keeping that in mind, the new parliament building is being constructed, correct? Okay. So come back to this. I hope you remember the story, and now we can easily say, yes, state Karnataka population is different from the Madhya Pradesh or Kerala population. So the strength of each legislative assembly is also different. It is not same. It varies from state to state. So definitely you cannot say like the MLA of Karnataka, if he cast his vote, you cannot say like he is equal to MLA of Uttar Pradesh. Definitely, because the supporters behind each MLA is, the size is different. For example, for this person 10 lakh people might have voted. For this person in his constituency 15 lakh people may be there. Means voted means, don't get confused, I am telling the population of his constituency. Okay, so it varies from state to state. That's why vote value is different. So how to calculate vote value of each state? That is MLA vote value. It is not like our vote value. Our vote value is 1. But MLA of Karnataka is different. MLA of Madhya Pradesh is different. MLA of Uttar Pradesh is different. So we are going to calculate based upon this formula. That is total population of the state divided by total number of elected members divided by 1000. That is, see, very simple now. Total population of the Karnataka divided by total number of elected state. For example, if you take the Karnataka state example, assume that. So now present it has crossed, but as per the census we need to take actually, okay, it's 5 crore or 6 crore, just for the calculation purpose. Assume that 6 crore, or you want to take the new one itself. Okay, you can take 7 crore. Divided by total number of elected members, that is 224. Okay, so 7 crore divided by 224. how much it comes out? And divided by 1000, this is for mathematical purpose only, because population will be, the number of zeros will be more, just to reduce that, mathematically divided by 1000. There is no significant meaning to this 1000, only to have smaller number, because everywhere we are doing the same thing, mathematical purpose. But here it shows that the value of MLA of Karnataka vote is this much, 7 crore divided by 224. Similarly, Uttar Pradesh population divided by how many seats are there. Madhya Pradesh population divided by how many seats are there. This is about MLA value. Means I am saying vote value. Here you can see the difference. For example, in the general election we are going to vote, right? Only one vote. One person, one vote. But MLA, the total population of the state divided by number of MLAs. Divided by 1000 is for only for simplification purpose. And how about MP? How about MP? The MP value, that is the MP vote value, okay, is almost same throughout India. Same, almost, roughly around 708 it comes around. How? Because the difference is this MLAs in only in Karnataka. Only in Karnataka the 224 seats are decided, correct? So the population is divided among them. But in MP, whole population of India is equally divided and the seats are assigned in such a fashion. Okay. Anyway, the total number of votes assigned to MLAs, that is, it is like MLA of Karnataka plus Madhya Pradesh plus Rajasthan, all the MLA votes are added and divided by total number of MPs. Total number of MPs. That is, MPs are there in Lok Sabha as well as in Rajya Sabha. So total 778 roughly. So if you divide that, MP vote value will come out. Correct? And so this is what it says. The total votes casted by all MLAs divided by total number of elected MPs. Elected MPs. Okay. MPs means both of Rajya Sabha as well as Lok Sabha. Please understand the total votes will be divided by both the houses. That is, MPs are there in the MP of Rajya Sabha and MP of Lok Sabha. Almost same, right? Almost same. Okay. So this is how it is actually calculated. Okay. Now we have understood two formulas are there. One is, that is MLA vote value. The first formula is to give the weight to the population of each state. Okay. If Karnataka is voting, that value is different, and Assam is voting, that value is different. Okay. So it is giving importance to the population of each state. The more the population, more the vote value. That's it. Simple formula. And the second formula that is we are using for MPs, right? Sorry, it is parity. That is to bring the parity between the votes of all MLAs and those of MPs. Parity. We want to bring the parity between MLAs and MPs. The second formula we are talking about. Okay. And I think you are interested to know about how actually the voting will be done. See, in the presidential election, you know that in the general election, you will be having like this EVM or ballot paper, correct? So a candidate A, B, C will be there, and here button will be there, and you are going to press that. Means you are showing your preference for that particular candidate. But in the case of presidential election, okay, we need to give preferences. We need to give preferences. Instead of buttons here, okay, we have to write the preferences. For example, if I like candidate B, I will say, okay, I like that candidate B should become the President of India. Suppose other people are not supporting him, what to do? So my second preference is, okay, if not this person, at least that candidate A should become the president. If other people's support is also not there for that, so at least candidate C should become the president. If that not, another is 4, 5, 6. How many people are contesting? That many preferences we can give. Now what will happen? Assume that, because we all know that the vote required, that is absolute majority, 50% plus 1. Assume that candidate A, candidate B, candidate C, candidate D, he got 30%, he got 20%, he got 10%, he got something, okay, like this, 5% and like this. Now nobody is getting majority. So how to declare the winner? How to declare that he is the winner? If directly he gets the 50%, no problem. Directly he gets 50%, no problem. We can choose him as the President of India. But what if he is not getting that 50%? Because without that, it is impossible to select him as the President of India. Quite interesting, right? What they will do? So one who has got the least, for example, assume that least votes, number of votes very less. So it is at least clear that the last candidate will never going to win, no doubt about it. So what they will do, for example, the candidate D has got 100 support, assume that 100 people are supporting him, okay, but anyway he is not going to win. The candidate A is leading, but those who have preferred this person like first preference might have given second preference to A, or second preference to C, okay, or second preference to B, correct? Now they will close this last candidate counting, they will start transferring who all got second preference. Now it may change also, like A and B, B and A will change, okay. So now assume that suddenly B may take over and it becomes 30%, no problem, 31%, or he himself become 40%. Now also not reached 50%. Now second least person as the first preference, means those who want C to be the President of India, but he is on the last line. Now they will discard his first one, the second preference and third preference. So they will start adding to the remaining top level. So like this, one who reaches 50% plus 1 first will be declared as the winner. Got it? It is like the first candidate is having 30 chocolate, second candidate is having 28 chocolate, third is having for 20 chocolate. Simple, if you want to understand in a simple manner. The last person may be having 5 chocolates or 2 chocolates or 1 chocolate, correct? But he is not going to be selected. So the second preference votes will be there, right, for the remaining candidates. So that will be transferred to them. Till when? Till they achieve the 50%. Got it? So like this, they will not ask this in exam. Out of curiosity, you want to know about that, right? That's why I explained. Okay, like this, the election will take place. I hope you have understood the election of the president in detail. And last, okay, how the final calculation is being done. The total votes polled, divided by 1 plus 1 plus 1. Okay, I'll explain. So that electoral quota, okay, the electoral quota will be calculated like this. The total votes polled divided by 1 plus 1 plus 1. I hope you can understand what is what. This plus 1 is like 50% plus 1. Correct? One extra vote is required in the absolute majority. So that you understood. Sir, what is this 1 plus 1? This one shows us that how many candidates we are going to select. Only one candidate we are going to select. For example, total votes polled is 100. Now, how many candidates we are going to select? Only one. That's why 1 plus 1 becomes 2. Plus 1. That is 50 plus 1. 50% plus 1 vote is required. Assume, simple for assumption. We are going to choose through this selection both president and vice president. Now we are not having that, just for understanding sake. Now this 2 will be 1 will become 2 post we are going to select. So next what happens, 100 divided by 3 happens. That is how many votes are required to win the election, 33% plus 1. So that percentage varies if the number of candidates increases. But here we are going to choose only one person. That's why total votes for divided by 1 plus 1 and plus 1. Please remember this. The electoral college for the presidential election in India. Okay. So they are asking about the same thing only. The value of vote of an elected member of the legislative assembly equals state population divided by number of elected MLAs of the state into 100. Okay, they are telling state population, correct, very correct, divided by number of MLAs and divided by 1000, not 100, not 100. Okay, and second thing, so because of this 100 it is wrong. So here number of elected MLAs into 1000 it should happen, but it has become 100. That's why first statement is wrong. The value of vote of an elected member of the parliament equals to the total value of the votes of all the elected MLAs and the total number of elected MPs. Is it correct? I hope you remember. The value of vote of an elected member of parliament, correct, equals total value of votes of all the elected MLAs, correct, divided by total number of elected MPs, divided by, got it? So here what they have mentioned, and no, we are not adding them, we are dividing, then only we are getting a MP vote. That's why this is also wrong. Okay, there were more than 5,000 members in the latest elections. Okay, numbers in the latest election. I think you have seen the total strength was around 4,896. And please understand, this is 2003. Okay, 2003. Anyway, it was not crossing at that time also. So this is also wrong. This is also wrong. Okay. So what is the option? All are wrong only. All are wrong only. But actually here by mistake it has happened. Sorry, none of the above. None of the above are correct, because they are asking correct statement. None of the above are correct. Okay. Actually, not an issue. Original question was like this. Actually, this was 1000 was correct, and actually here instead of and divide was there, and actually third was like this only. Actually, answer is 1 and 2. We don't mind like what is given here, that we have to evaluate, right? So here it is all are wrong, so all are wrong. In the exam they have given correctly only the first two statements, means I instead of and dash was there, but they wanted to check this, more than 1000 was not there. Okay, now we'll understand. So I hope you enjoyed the election process of the president. Election process of the president. Who is part of it? That is MPs, MLAs, correct, from both parliament as well as from states and also from union territories, but nominated members are never part of it. And second thing is, we understand how the MP vote is different. Like it is same throughout India. You can, whether it's a MP of Rajya Sabha or Lok Sabha, both are same only. Both are same only. And next we understood how the preferential vote 1, 2, 3 should be given, how it is calculated, and how actually the preference means 50% plus 1, how he will be finally selected. Okay, now we'll understand the eligibility criteria to become a president and other aspects of the president. Okay, we'll see that in the next session. Thank you.